Mike Graham.
Oh, Mike Graham was very good. I mean, he was very good in the ring. His dad, had the Florida territory, and he was raised in the business. And Mike was very good. I mean, the only thing about Mike was he was on the small side for his day. I mean, I wrestled, I was like 240, 245. Arn was maybe 250. And we were maybe kind of like the average, but we still weren't the big guys either. But, and Mike was very good, but he was a little on the small side for back in those days when the top guys were all pretty big, guys.
Bill Kazmaier.
Oh, Bill Kazmaier was a nice guy. Yeah, very nice guy. And it was good because he was a big bastard. I mean, and one time I got on because I was very strong. I was benching 465. We were working out with Bruno. We always did heavy. And one time Kazmaier had these dumbbells with him. He'd warm up before a match. And he had them down, but they were kind of like primitive looking dumbbells. Wasn't anything written on them or anything. I said, "Oh, how much are these?" And he said, "Oh, those are 70-pound dumbbells." So each one was 70 pounds. So I picked them up and I started doing a few curls with them. And I could curl the 70-pound dumbbells, no problem. And I put them back down. Arn was there and said, "What the hell was that?" And I said, "I'm just doing some curls." And Arn grabs them and Arn puts them down. Arn goes to curl one and he can't even budge it. He goes, "What the hell are you on?" Like he thought I was on gas or something. And he put him back down and looked at me funny because he couldn't believe I was doing it and he couldn't even budge
it. Mil Mascaras.
I met Mil a few times in New York when he came in, and then one time in Guatemala. And it was funny because, God, I can't remember the guy's name that was with me. He was a North Carolina guy, and we were on a tour of Guatemala and some things. But Mil was there, and when Mil took a shower after the match, he didn't take the mask off. He wouldn't take the mask off in the locker room. It was like his sacred thing. So we're in the shower, and the one guy is dying to see what Mil looks like. And he said, "Hey, Mil, can you take your mask off in the shower? I just want to see what you look like." And Mil went, "No." And he was driving this guy nuts. And I knew what Aaron looked like. Good-looking guy. Aaron was a good-looking guy. But he wouldn't take the mask off even in the shower. And God, I can't remember this guy's name, but he drove him crazy. And for his day, Mil was an attraction, because it was rare that the mask guys alone, but the style Mil had with the diving, you rarely saw that. Bruno wasn't diving on anybody.
Van Hammer.
Van Hammer?
Van Hammer.
I never really knew him that great, but the funny bit about Van Hammer was, for some reason, Steve Regal, Lord Regal, didn't like Van Hammer. So we were all invited to a Christmas party. I think it was Diamond Dallas Page's house one year. He had a big Christmas party. So a bunch of the boys go over to his house, and Van Hammer was there, and they're having a party. Scott Hudson was there. And then Steve Regal comes in, and Van Hammer standing up against the wall, and I'm still not sure why. I'll have to ask Steve when I see him. But Van Hammer, Steve didn't like him, probably because he couldn't work and shouldn't be there. But Steve walked up in front of Van Hammer, and all of a sudden, boom! He headbutted him, knocked him cold. And Van Hammer is laying on the floor, knocked out cold, and Regal just comes walking in like nothing happened. He's like, "What the hell did you do that for?" That was my memory of the big Christmas party with the boys.
I should have ended on that one.
Oh my God, that was funny. I don't know. I boom, headbutted him, and now he went.
He's really righto. On to the party, yeah. Bill Dundee.
Oh, Bill Dundee, he was a good guy. I mean, he was a fun guy. And I really didn't have a chance to really hang out with the boys in those days. I was doing the broadcasting when Bill Dundee was the manager of Steve. But he was involved with the matches and the stuff I did with Steve. And Bill was easy. I mean, he was an old pro. A good guy and an old pro. And it worked out good with, like Steve's butler guy or whatever it
Dave or Everett Sullivan?
Everett Sullivan.
It was Dave Sullivan, but they spelt it backwards because he was dyslexic. He was meant to be Kevin Sullivan's brother or something. I can't remember.
Wow, you know what? I can't remember either. I know Kevin Sullivan well, but I never heard of him.
It was a bigger guy. Yeah, it was a bigger guy with a mustache, and he was meant to be Kevin's stupid brother. But he was there for a couple of years.
I must have missed that. To be honest with you, I don't know. Righto.
Righto. Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker.
Oh, Buddy Lee. You know, it's funny because Buddy Lee was a nice guy, but good guy, and worked out hard. And he'd run some classes when the WCW had a wrestling school for guys and get in shape and stuff. And the thing that cracks me up about Buddy was, he wasn't tall. He was kind of a short guy, but real stocky. And they made him a leprechaun. And so he was a leprechaun that would run around the ring at TBS, and he thought that was his big break, right? And the funny bit was, one day he came in and they told him, you can't be a leprechaun anymore. He goes, why not? It was, I was just having fun with it, and people were starting to get into it. And he goes, well, we got a letter from lawyers that, could face a lawsuit and legal problems from the Leprechaun Foundation or something. And it was the stupidest thing, because I'm thinking, how the hell can someone get sued? And TBS, being a company, didn't want to get sued by anybody, because they were very politically correct. But I'm thinking, how the hell can you get sued by a Leprechaun Foundation when there's no such thing? Anyway, but that was the remembrance of Buddy Lee and this leprechaun gimmick that was going to get sued, so they quit. Have you ever seen a leprechaun out there, or are they in Ireland?
No, they're in Ireland.
Oh, good. Okay, you got stoneheads, they got the leprechaun.
We just have a lot of tramps and bums on the streets.
Yeah.
Smoking that synthetic marijuana these days.
Oh, right how?
So they're seeing leprechauns every day of the week.
Seeing all kinds of stuff.
Buff Bagwell.
Oh, Buff Bagwell. He was a good guy to a young guy looking for a break, but he was just kind of the guy that was the young guy looking for a break. But he wasn't the kind of guy that people would go, oh wow, when he gets in the ring with Goldberg. He just wasn't. And then he got involved something with his mother. His mother was coming to the ring, or his mother was. I remember something about his mother, which just made him come off like a kid instead of, Scott Hall or a Hulk, or So some of the things he did was kind of dumb, but he was a nice guy, Bob. Good guy.
I've got 3 more. Chris Champion.
Oh my God, I remember the name, but I really.
Was it Yoshi Kwan at one point?
Was it who?
Yoshi Kwan.
I don't remember. I remember the name Chris Champion. I don't remember too much. In those days when I did the broadcasting, especially on Nitro, I'd do the first hour, and then I'd leave the building before the crowd. Bobby would do the rest of the show, and I'd go to the casino or somewhere, get the hell out of there. And I never hung out with the boys in the dressing room, so I really didn't know him, unless I saw him in the ring. But I remember Chris Champion. Didn't he die? I'm not sure if he died or not. There's some memory I have that he might have died.
My phone's on airplane mode, so I can't even, so it doesn't buzz. So so I can't even check up on it. I'll leave that. Colonel Robert Parker.
Oh, Colonel Parker. Yeah, he was a classic character, and he was a guy that was kind of like my age and time, so he knew what he was doing. And he'd come out, tall guy with the hat. He was a good character, and he could talk good. Then the secret of really getting an emotional connection with the fans, the big secret of that and very important part is you have to be able to talk. So, if they got some big ugly goon that couldn't talk, they'd give him a manager that did all the talking, and the other guy, no. But Colonel Parker was a good guy and very smart, with the psychology, and did a great job with that, stuff. I think he worked with Sister Sherry too or something.
Yeah, that was for years. They had some sort of love. It wasn't a triangle. It was just some love affair for 2 years, and then at some point they got together, and then I think they were both fired, or they just broke it up completely, and then it was never heard of from again. So
I remember vaguely that.
And the very last one, Meng.
Ming?
Haku.
Oh,
King Tonga.
I'm glad you asked it. That's the perfect last guy. Ming was one of the guys you would never want to piss off. He was a tough, talk about like a gorilla size, neck and head and arms. And if he'd be in a bar, you'd get, I never went to bars. I never drank my whole adult life. I never drank. I think it should be illegal. It makes people stupid. But Ming would be there, and there'd be some drunk fan that would come up and say, I think wrestling's not all real. Well, that was the wrong guy. And, Ming, But he's a good guy, and I'm glad you said that, because we just did a movie last year. We filmed a movie. It was like 6 guys, me, Ernie the Camp Lad, Glacier, and Ming. Haku was one of them, and another one. And it's a movie called The Replaceables. And we filmed it last year. It's been getting edited and put together at Full Sail down the road. And it's going to be done somewhere around the end of April. It slowed down a bit because of the virus crap. But they've been working on it, and it's going to be a cool movie called The Replaceables, and Ming was in it. So I was just working with Ming in this movie, and he's a funny guy. He's a funny guy, and he was one of them guys. If you mess with him, you pick the wrong guy.
Do you smell what the Rock is cooking?
Enough is enough! Booty poo candy! I had him writhing in pain with my sharpshooter.
Rocky!
I am not a nugget!
Stick him straight up your candy ass!
I kicked your leg out of your leg.
The Rock has come back!